Our legal panel now. Mercedes Colwin is a Fox News legal analyst, and Richard St. Paul is a defense attorney, also a member of the Republican Lawyers Association. So Lieutenant Zimmerman's testimony, a blow to defense. Mercedes, what were some of the other strengths in the prosecutor's arguments and witnesses this week?
Well, without question, aside from Mr. Zimmerman, it was the bystanders, which was gut-wrenching. These testimony that came forward by those individuals, many of them cried on the stand. Many of them said that they stood by helpless, that it was clear to them that Mr. Floyd was dying underneath the knee of Officer Chauvin. So it was very painstaking to hear that, and I'm sure that a lot of the jurors sitting there were moved by that testimony. In fact, one of the bystanders wasn't even cross-examined by the defense. They just allowed the direct testimony to stand as is. So it's certainly a powerful blow to the defense, and it really resonates, the message being to these jurors, if all of these individuals standing around watching this interaction between the officer and Mr. Floyd, and they understood how grave the circumstances were, yet the officer Chauvin never stood up. It's like what the prosecutor started in the opening testimony when he said he didn't let up and get up, let up and get up. You're going to hear that over and over again. At one point, he should have gotten let up and get up? Well, certainly at the point where Mr. Floyd was no longer conscious, which is over 3 minutes before Officer Chauvin released his hold on Mr. Floyd.
Richard, what were strengths in the defense's argument and witnesses this week?
So starting off with Lieutenant Zimmerman, the defense tried to shed some light on the fact that Lieutenant Zimmerman, who was the head of homicide in the Minneapolis police, that he had not been patrolling on the streets for over 20 years. That is, that he had not been a patrol person since 1993. And really that Officer Chauvin, who is a 19-year veteran and a 19 years patrol officer, meaning that they do patrols on the street, that they assign to patrol the city, that Lieutenant Zimmerman that hadn't had that experience in so long, and it was really not familiar with the everyday interaction with having to arrest somebody, and that his familiarity is basically with follow-up investigations. And so I think that's what the defense wanted to highlight, is that he does not know what it's like to be on the street and have to deal with people and arrest them, and what force is necessary to arrest the individuals. So that was part of what the defense was showing in their cross-examination of Lieutenant Zimmerman.
I'm sorry, Richard. Mercedes, so far, that seems to be a pretty weak argument. When the trial resumes on Monday, which side bears the bigger burden to get their desired outcome? Mercedes, then Richard, if you guys can give me a short 1 minute on that one.
Sure. I mean, certainly the burden of proof rests with the prosecution, but you can tell from the opening statement how powerful the testimony is going to be. This whole case, Arthel, is going to rest on the toxicology report. I know that the defense is going to come forward, and it's already been highlighted in the opening, that they're going to rest very heavily on the toxicology report. And the defense has already said, don't focus on the 9 minutes and 29 seconds like the prosecution wants you to focus. Let's focus on these experts. Let's focus on the 150,000 pages of evidence that hasn't come in yet. Let's focus on these other testimony that's going to come in as well. But in the final analysis, the prosecution has a very powerful case. It's that video alone, especially when Mr. Floyd is no longer conscious. Why is Officer Chauvin still on restraining him with his knee on his neck? And that's what that's what a devastating blow. I'm not sure how they're going to overcome it in the defense.
Indeed. Richard, let me give you another 30 seconds.
Sure. So just very quick, we have not reached the meat of this case. The meat of this case really solely relies on, did Officer Chauvin putting his knee in George Floyd's neck cause his death, or was it something else that caused the death of George Floyd? We have not gotten to the meat. That's going to be the bottom line in this case.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was difficult to watch. It was really difficult to watch. Richard St. Paul, Mercedes Colwin, I do have to leave. We're at the end of the show, but we'll get you back maybe next week to talk about the trial.